Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio. And again, we are doing the Positively Pipeman segment. That's one of my favorite parts of my show because it's everything about motivation, empowerment, business, and it's kind of the real side of me instead of the radio personality side of me. And as always, I have a very special guest that comes on every week with us because just a wealth of information and a great help to many businesses out there. So I would like to welcome to the show Michael Barbarita. Even that now, this time I messed up Michael. I don't know how.
Right. That's all right. Well, you've gone the complete cycle now, so you don't have to worry.
I know, right?
Next time.
You know, it's say it right. Say it right. It's funny when I interview like bands. A lot of times I'll have them say their band name so I don't screw it up, because some of them are really hard to pronounce. There's some of them when they're really hard, I'll do some research and hear how they say it, but even then, sometimes, some things are tongue twisters, but Michael should not be one of them.
That probably not.
But see there it is. There's my inside reality compared to the outside perception.
There you go.
So let's talk about that.
We're going to talk. Well, that's exactly what we're going to discuss today, Dean. So once again, business owners ask me, how do I go about differentiating? In previous shows, in a previous show, we talked about position of market dominance as being one. And in a future show, we're going to talk about, I hope so, marketing as being another. I want to talk about inside perception. Inside reality versus the outside perception. Many businesses, so many businesses do so many unique things and great things, but they do not communicate that to a prospect in any way, shape, or form. And this, what I mean by the inside reality is that inside, the company is really awesome. They have everything systematized. They do everything right. They're always on time for a customer, or they're always deliver the goods that they say. Plus, they not meet our customer expectations. They beat them. But the outside perception is they're like everybody else because they don't identify the problems that the customer has that they don't want, and with the solution they want they can't find, even though the solution is sitting right in their company. And one of the best examples I can give of this, and I think I've given it on a previous show, but I want to give it again, is if you go to a food show, you would see these mom and pop companies that don't get exposure because the Bisco is so, Pillsbury is so big and so great that they have all this money that they give to their customers, so that they buy from them. The food is like unbelievable. It's like high-end restaurant, like the best restaurant in the world, quality food from these mom and pops. And the inside reality is their food is unbelievable. The outside perception is they're just a small little guy that just really doesn't have much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great example of inside reality versus outside perception, because the outside perception of most companies is they're like everyone else, and that once again leads to one differentiator, one criteria, and that's price. And so that inside reality needs to be communicated. And you really, and some business owners, because they're in it all the time, they got to kind of analyze what the inside reality really is.
Yeah.
And some of it is stuff that customers actually compliment them on, and they just say ho hum. But it's something that's really important, and and can be a differentiator. Maybe it's not, but sometimes it is.
And it is about communicating. It's not about ego. Like some people may thinking that, no, it's about communicating. And, you're talking about the restaurant idea. I'm originally from New Jersey, and one of the best Italian restaurants in all of New Jersey is this place that's at the basement of somebody's house, and it's the Italian grandmother cooking the food, and outside perception without communicating that with somebody would probably drive up to it and just keep driving because like, oh, well, that's
Another
not
Italian restaurant.
yeah, and it's not even something that I even think I should be going to because you're seeing this house or whatever. And, I see it. Okay, perfect example in the strip center where our studio is here in West Palm Beach. So there's this one restaurant that's there now that's an Italian restaurant. But there were 3 Italian restaurants in there. In the whole time I've been there, there were 4 restaurants in that same location, all of them Italian restaurants. And 3 of them failed. You see this in the North all the time. Like you always see these pizza places taking over another pizza place, but they're doing things exactly the same. So they close down just like the previous one does. But this place that's there now has been there for many, many years when everybody else failed. And they've expanded to open other locations. Even within the same town, there's a second location. And that is how they create and communicate the outside perception, because I don't know that the inside reality is any different than those other ones that failed before them.
Yeah, and one of the amazing things is when I ask clients to look at their competitors' websites, which by the way they very rarely do, which is really strange because when I in the
Right?
businesses I owned, in the unsuccessful business I owned, I totally ignored my competition's websites. But in the successful businesses I owned, I was paying very close attention. Although I'm so old that there were no websites, I used to make phone calls as a customer to my competitors. Just to see if they did certain things or they didn't do certain things.
That's funny you should say that, because when I was, young, much younger, even like before college and going into college, I worked at a major retail establishment for pools and spas, patio furniture, and then Christmas during the winter, because you know how that is up north. Usually the pool stores turn to Christmas stores. And we
Right.
were required, as part of our job, we were required to go shop every one of the competition. And they would group us up with like the guy salespeople had to go with like maybe one of the female cashiers and act like you're kind of a couple and go shop these places. And it like there was no, I don't feel comfortable with that. It was something you had to do. But because of doing that, you're just so informed of how to communicate your product compared to theirs and create, and you get to see the perception from the other side because you're the customer. Exactly. So you're experiencing it firsthand, what their customers are experiencing.
And you feel the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And sometimes the atmosphere is different in a competitor's location than yours.
Totally.
And yeah. And so, I mean, if you go to when I ask business owners to actually go to their competitors' websites and they go to them, they're saying the same things I'm saying. And there you have it. So the outside perception is nowhere close to the inside reality of any of these businesses.
Yeah.
And the one who can make the outside perception, who can communicate the inside reality and make the outside perception the inside reality, they're the winners. They're the winners. And so this is something that we always talk about with our clients as another area of differentiation. When they analyze their inside reality and they realize how good it really is, and some areas that no one else is talking about that they can start communicating, that's where they once again find that differentiation.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I just helped a franchise the other day, a business who's a franchise. And I said, Your customers know that you're a franchise? No, we keep that quiet. I said, to me, it can be an advantage if you communicate and use it properly. For example, the reason why our clients love us is we're a part of a huge franchise, and we not only have expert practitioners or whatever the business is, but we can have access to a network of experts, so we can solve any kind of problem or any kind of issue that might come up.
What I also find in that situation is like, okay, so you take the McDonald's format. There's not any McDonald's in the United States, for the most part, that you can't walk into and get the exact same experience, the exact same food, and so that's where it's a positive, because you have the dependability of having the same experience if it's an experience that you like, opposed to other things where it could be great in Florida and terrible in Boston or what have you.
Absolutely. And so, it's little things like that where people are business owners are keeping certain things a secret that could be an absolute competitive advantage. And so that's why when we are with clients, we dig deep into the inside reality, because that's where the gold is, to communicate and differentiate yourself on something other than price.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing, because, in sales, I always train people don't buy price. They buy the story behind the price. So if you're not creating a story, people have no other option but to pick price.
Right. And that's when I hear all these business owners complain, like, first time I'm at this networking group, I went from business owner to business owner to business owner, and everyone was complaining about how they have to lower their prices in order to get the business. And it's going to kill them. It's going to kill them. So
I'll tell you what, too, if you communicate the outside perception properly, you're actually better off raising prices than lowering prices, because people perceive value.
That's
it's just
exactly right.
You have some things that are free, and I've always taught that people perceive free as no value. So you think you're doing the right thing sometimes, but sometimes it can work against you, because people would rather pay more to get more value.
Agreed. Absolutely. That's what's so incredible about some of the outcomes that we end up having, because they're actually increasing prices, not decreasing them. And it's because of the value they're delivering. Just those little problems that they solve, they're able to increase the prices because the value goes up. The perception of value goes up. And the differentiation is there because the inside reality is being communicated to the outside.
There you go. I love it. Any other words you want to talk about on this subject, and also tell people how they can reach out to you and get more information and consult with you on how they could benefit their business?
Well, I'd love to give, as I mentioned before, I'd love to give 3 more lucky listeners, and I only have bandwidth for 3 more, but 3 more lucky listeners to schedule an assessment with me. And I guarantee them that I will find them a minimum of $100,000 of additional revenue without spending any additional money on marketing or advertising. And it's based upon a lot of the concepts that we've been talking about on the show. And but I can show you directly, and that true it'll show you a true return on investment. And by the way, there's no obligation to work with us, but I will show you that $100,000 in additional revenue without spending any additional money in marketing or ads. And to do it, you go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the contact form, and in the message section, write 100K. And I'll be in contact with you. We'll schedule a 90-minute assessment, and I'll show you an increase of $100,000 of additional revenue without spending $1 more in marketing or ads.
That's beautiful. I love it. And I always love the information you give our listeners because you are definitely the chief genius. We'll call you the CGO, the Chief Genius Officer, that can help people and benefit them during times like this where I think it's most important to have somebody like you on the team because there's so much competition that you really need to know how to change that outside perception to make you appear to be the only choice.
There you go. Absolutely. Thank you, Dean.
Thanks once again for being on the Adventures of Pipeman, and you are positively Pipeman.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.